And what we're going to do is we're going to draw the simplest house we can draw. Just a slightly pitched roof. It should be wider than the house itself. And then a door. And a small window. And we're going to use that as reference. Now where on this is just a front view, or elevation, where on this is my vanishing point, or excuse me, my horizon line? What does the horizon line relate to? Our eye level. So it's going to be somewhere, obviously, unless we're 8 feet tall, it's going to be somewhere below that door. Just above where the bottom of that window is. And so now what I want you to do is on this page, draw a line maybe 2/3 of the way down, across, horizontal. And rather than put this vanishing point right in the middle, well, I'll tell you what, let's put the vanishing point right in the middle. And from there I can draw an array of lines that head towards that vanishing point. And I know that I'm going to have some lines that are above the horizon line, and I also know that I'm going to have some lines that are below the horizon line. And we're just going to start right here. And I'm going to draw the front face minus the pitched roof somewhere about right here. And I want to give it some kind of thickness. Now, because this is going away from us, just as we were looking at this should be a smaller distance than this one. So this shouldn't be quite as wide, but I'm going to draw in just that front face of that building. Then I'm going to come over just a little bit. I'm going to draw another one. And this will start to widen up as it gets closer to me. And before I do anything else, before I try and draw in the roof, I'm going to add some additional construction lines. And so I'm going to find the center of this box that I've already drawn. I'm going to draw that straight up. And it's going to intersect that first line that I drew about right there. And this is going to come up and it's going to intersect that first line that I draw about right there. So if I was to draw this part of that roof and this part of that roof extending off that original square, I find that point. I can come over to that point right here. And it also is going to follow that same vanishing line. So I can draw this in a little bit darker. I'm just going to put a little dot right there. I'll draw that in. And now I've got a case of the connect the dots. And I can connect to create that triangle. And it's very helpful for me to have the center, or the highest point of that roof as a reference. That's coming up to there. Again, it's following that. Connect the dots. And before I add the details of the door and the window, I want to give this some thickness. So if I want to draw the right side of this house, what do I need to do to draw that? Well, I can come from this bottom point and go over this little intersection right here and go straight. In one point perspective, those horizontal lines are going to remain horizontal. I'll do the same thing here.
Are we drawing several of the same house?
This is, yeah, we just got a nice old suburban neighborhood here. I'm going to draw the bottom of that house. And I'm actually going to draw a line that comes over for the roof. Darken that in a little bit. And now I can start to add a little bit more weight to some of these lines, again to make them stand out from the construction lines that we started out with. I'm just going to let this kind of disappear over here, fade out. Now for the door, we mentioned a couple of things. One, can y'all tell me what I've done wrong so far? It has to do with my horizon line and the placement of my horizon line. What I did is I drew that horizon line in, we're going to pretend like we are 10-year-olds. So our horizon line is going to be a little bit lower. You see how that horizon line is running right through the center of that front face when actually it needs to be a little bit higher. But in doing that, what I want to do is I want to draw this top edge of the door and the top edge of the window, which I can draw with the same line. And where does that, how do I draw that in? It's just another array going to that single vanishing point. So I can draw that out. That's going to give me the top of the door here, the top of the window there, the top of the door here, and the top of the window there. So sketch that in. That door is just, it ends just to the left of the center of this house. The bottom of the door is already defined, just to the left of the center of the house. And then the window's just to the right. And that window is coming right about, it's coming down to about where our 10-year-old vantage point is, right on that horizon line. Feel free to add detail to these houses as you wish. For example, that door may be stepped in just a little bit right here, so I would just draw straight horizontal. Connect that. And then the top of the inside of the door again would go towards that single vanishing point. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hatch the side of this house a little bit. That surface is parallel to this surface. And then I've got the underside of this roof, which I'll get to in just a second, which most likely is going to be darker. So I'll add a darker hatch across there. Closer together, and I'm putting a little bit more pressure on the pin. Same thing would be right here, and the same thing would be on the underside of this door. And when we're done with that, what I want you to do is I want you to basically mirror that entire sketch to the other side of the street. One other thing we can do is we can draw just a simple little sidewalk in here if you want. Now, to mirror it exactly, what I want to do is I want to find this angle, and I want to repeat it on the other side as best I can. And the angle for the roof, those are the two big ones, which, as we said earlier, I messed up a little bit, and it's almost right in the middle. And then if I want those to be at the same distance away from me, the observer, I can take these two lines and lightly sketch them over to the other side. And that becomes the basis for me to create those front faces. And start over. So I'm going to walk around as you guys finish up the other half of this sketch.